Well, it was not our most successful week at the track, but it was an impressive week at the track. Obviously, I'm fresh off a win this afternoon with Time Is On My Side, going into the final of the stake race here at the Meadows, and a week before his stake series started, which quietly I'm wondering where's he fit. We always think of Arson as the top of the food chain in our barn, but Arson has won in 150 at Lexington, but he has not won in 51 at the Meadows, and that was some kind of hell of a mile today from Time Is On My Side. That was impressive. Very, very impressed with what he's done thus far this year. Undefeated, our only remaining undefeated horse. Now, they all lose at some point, but he didn't lose today, and he is a sparkling 5 for 5 to start the year. He's heading into next week's Sire Stake race. I would suspect brimming with confidence. We only had, unless I'm wrong, we only had 2 winners this week. No, I am wrong. Kenobi was a winner this week also. Time Is On My Side remains undefeated. Kenobi and Collector S were the 3 winners of the week. We don't talk enough about Kenobi and what kind of a great job Mark and Melissa and Brett have done with that horse. He has done a tremendous job since he's got to New York, and just a great job by both of them. Collector S, a winner last week. Now, I didn't know what to do. I just let Sleeping Dogs lie at the point and just let them enter him back in to go, and draws the 9 hole at 15-1. So it's hard to get a real tell as to if he fits in that class or not, especially when you're looking at long morning line odds. But you're also looking at a 9 hole, so that has to factor in. So I guess we're just going to watch the race and decide what we're going to do. Whatever we do with Collector, it's a step up in competition now, right? I think he's got $70,000-$80,000 made, somewhere around there, and 6 wins. So there's no cakewalks waiting for him anywhere, unless we price him, which I think would be foolish at this point. We got a fairly fresh, still fairly green young trotter with lots of potential that has already trotted in 54 and a piece and done good things for us. So I don't think there's any reason to start looking at exit strategies with the Collector S just yet. Now, as I said, we've had a great week. And I was really proud of what I saw. Now, it's not all, rainbows and lollipops. There's this is a time of year when we start to move horses out, right? We sold Sedona Hill last week after her race. I just didn't think she was a stake horse, and I see plenty more like her pop up, right? J-Port Beach Boy. Great Bet the way he raced. Now, I told Dominic, Great Bet was still a stud. Originally a stud. We're going to castrate him, and he's going to get a few more cracks at it, but he really has to come forward, right? And that's why I told Dominic, there's no point in sugarcoating what the horses are. They are what they are. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. In many cases, it's not the horse's fault. It just is what it is. But understanding what it is and taking it for what it is, and then making decisions accordingly, is the right way to go about this. So there are some horses that over the next 3 weeks will likely be leaving the stable. That's just nature. It's the way it is. You guys know that. But there are a number of horses that will not be leaving the stable. I'm so impressed. Memory and Imagination was very, very good the other day. I had said this in the video after the Meadows the other day. Coming in off that qualifier, I didn't really know what to expect. Tim said he had trained well, but what does that mean? What's he ready to do? It's great that he's ready to do something, but what is everybody else in that race ready to do? A very, very good second in his first start back. Arson, unfortunately, didn't get in. We're going to train him, I believe, on Monday is the plan, and he'll be entered for the stake race next week. He really did need a race, and I really did want to race him. Everything had gone perfectly right up until him not getting in. So it is a little frustrating. There's no possible way he's going to be ready for everybody, but at the same token, stake season's here. So Arson will be entered in to go next week. He did not get in. Pickpocket will be entered at the Meadows. I watched Carl qualify this morning in New Jersey at the Meadowlands, and it's not like we had the second best colt in the world anyway. You know, we cracked the top 10, that'd be super. But Carl looked amazing this morning at the Meadows. So that's what's waiting for us in New Jersey, and for the most part, Kentucky. And I suspect the good times. There's no hiding from the bat. When you're trying to race a top colt, you're going to have to race against the other top colts. And I keep saying top colt like he is, but he won the Bluegrass. He didn't, you know, he didn't. He was not ordained as one of the best colts in the world. He was, like I said, if we cracked the top 10, 15, 20, that would be great. Understanding that and managing him accordingly will be very, very important moving forward. So, but I was thoroughly impressed with his qualifier. Not impressed with the fact that he bled a little bit. We did put him on Lasix, but looking at the entire picture, and Tim filled in the missing pieces this week, upon closer review, looked that his feet were very sore. Now, we did put aluminums on him to clean up his gait, and that was always in the back of my mind, is you know, knowing that he raced so well in Kentucky, but also knowing that he raced so poorly on that hard track in Indiana. Having sore feet was inevitable in that regard, in that respect. But it also could have played easily, especially when you're looking at a horse that never bled before, and then qualified in 56 and bled, and then lo and behold, his feet are sore. Of course, it may be hard for people to grasp that and understand that one can lead to the other, but most definitely, stress management is a major player in horses breathing and bleeding, or not, for that matter. And Pickpocket definitely has some sore paws on him. So we're going to opt for a circuit plate, work at his feet, and he'll race next Friday at the Meadows. Now, the biggest question, then what? Then what do we do with him? I had a wonderful conversation with Randy, one of my partners today. He said, well, if only one of those colts could race, it should be Pickpocket as we prep him for the New Jersey Sires. You are correct. But let's take a full grasp, a full look at what is waiting in New Jersey for us. Because if there's, other than Carl, if there's some other killers there, it's never too early to start managing the horses properly and foregoing the New Jersey Sires or the Hambletonian to go down to Kentucky and opt for Oak Grove or the B Division in Kentucky, and then after that, Corbin rather than the Breeders' Crown. There's arguments to be made on both sides, and I'm certainly not saying that Pickpocket isn't good enough to go race against those horses, but that was a hell of a mile this morning I saw from Carl. Maybe that's why they did it. So there's a conversation to be had about the direction of Pickpocket and how we, what we do with the information in front of us and how we make decisions accordingly after that. Now, Mounts for All lost this week, so we only still have one undefeated horse at the stable, that being Time Is On My Side. Mounts for All raced good, finished second. I thought he was a little flat, so we left him out of the box this week. He'll race the following week in the final and then head to Indiana. I talked to Ron Burke today about Time Is On My Side. He asked about Mel Gibson. I said, he's a little softer yet, Ronnie. I don't think he's ready to go to Indiana. I'll let you know when he is soon. The other colt's ready to rock right now. And then, of course, Widespread Panic, don't forget, he may have just qualified, but he is an Indiana bred, and he's certainly not ready to trot in 53 or 54 or 55, but he's ready to go right now and look good in his qualifier. Another horse that looked great this week was Ready for Landing. You know, Kelly did a webinar. A gentleman asked me today, he said, you know, I thought it was pretty impressive that your brother James picked off Ready for Landing, and you drove all the way to Ontario to drive him and then drove all the way home. I said, well, sir, that's my job. It's my job to do that, and I'm happy to, and I'm well prepared to. When I looked at the options for Ready for Landing, take nothing away from any other driver. This is not me saying I can do a better job, but it is me saying I know him better than you. And when I look at Ready for Landing and the show that he put on the week before, I just didn't think that unless James drove him, there was no other way that he was going to get a fair shake the other night. There was no way that somebody could drive him the way that I drove him. which was let him trot out of there, drop him in a hole, sit him in a hole comfortably and confidently, and race him the way he did. You would have had somebody wrestle with him to take him back, and I would guess that it may have led to a mistake. And I just, comically, but not really, driving the 4.5 hours was much better than waiting 4.5 hours from the race and losing my mind when he made a break. So I certainly would not hesitate again to do it again if we had to. My job is to make sure that things run smoothly, and for this thing being ready for landing to run smoothly, to trot smoothly, I was going to have to be there to drive it. That was my 2 cents. That's what I thought. It worked out well. And as I said to James, I think the only mistake anybody's made with him is they've been trying to get him to go too slow. 54-1 was a great mile for him, and he did it right. He did it properly. Now the front end being hot helped, but the horse raced great, and I was truly, truly impressed with him. Another horse that really kind of tugged at me this week was Lover's Play. I just raced her. That is Lover's Play. That is the beginning of what will be Lover's Play. That's the exact same trip I gave her at Oak Grove, only I didn't have to cinch her in the first turn. I grabbed her at Oak Grove, she made a break, and what took place after that was just a dog's breakfast of qualifiers and breaks. It was a mess. And all because of one mistake in a race. And today we got to correct that a little bit. I let her trot over to the front and then let Erin go. And man, she raced so good. I thought she was second for a second. Just for an instant, I thought I was second, but she ended up third and 58 and raced very, very good. A great mile by her. She's back in Wednesday, actually, so should be tight anyway, and I think she's coming in sharp. So a fantastic race from Time Is On My Side this week. A great race from Collector, a great race from Kenobi. Then we had a second and a great start to the year for Memory and Imagination. Mounts for All continues to race good. Ready for Landing was good. The qualifier for Pickpocket was exceptionally good. The horse that beat me is a legit iron tough open trotter. Made $125,000 last year in the aged events. So that's what kind of horse he was in with in the qualifier that beat him in 56. Lover's Play was great. Another horse that qualified fantastic is Gypsy Hill, and we didn't talk about the Ohio crew enough this year yet. Gypsy Hill, Irresistible Sun, and now Prince Charmer. The way he raced on the weekend was tremendous also. So they're off to a flying start. Fillies are a little softer right now. We sold Sedona Hill. Purple People Eater, I think, is coming back into her own. I was happy with the way she trained this week also. Our aged horses continue to race good. Patrick, a real weird trip today for Patrick the Piranha. I think it was just so windy. It was so weird. Here's a 9-year-old horse. He was clearing off the lead in the open pace, and he kind of hung there like a grape. And then this wind hit him, and he just went limp. Dave did the right thing. He drove back on. I was parked. I tried to salvage a terrible situation, and I forced Hunter 3 wide around me and followed his cover the rest of the way, and Patrick finished up good. He ended up pacing in 51 and 4, 51 and 3. Had to come 28 seconds. It wasn't a bad mile for being parked the whole mile. And in many of the cases, if you're out there and you're watching these videos, you've seen my videos, and I won't stop in saying, I have no hesitation in saying, geez, I drove that horse bad, or I really screwed up. I didn't drive bad. I didn't screw up. Left out, put the horse in the right position to do the best work he could, and for whatever reason, he faltered at the quarter pole. And then we were able to salvage a terrible situation after that to finish 5th, and he ended up finishing up his mile very well. Now Patrick will go out to the field for 3 weeks. As I said to Tim, it's not that he has to go out to the field now, but it makes the most sense. He doesn't have a lot of money on his card. He's sound. He's feeling pretty good. He's sharp. I would say sharp. He's feeling good, and he's going about his work well. Now would be the most opportune time as summer is coming to just give him a little break. 3 weeks off, 3 weeks back, 6 weeks, I'll see you behind the gate. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do with Patrick the Piranha. JK Victories come back from his layoff. An unbelievable good mile, I'll tell you what. Must have paced 52 and 1, 52 and 2, 28 on the end of it, off a qualifier in 58. He's off to Indiana with Ron Burke also. Looked great. Tech Song Soprano continues to race awesome for Megan and Scotty in Yonkers. 4th, just beat for 2nd in the Open the other night. Raced great. Stay close, you know all about the mishap this week. He ended up third. Race good in his mile. Looks like money. They're in the free-for-all. He's back in this week, I believe. And poor Mister can't catch a break. He drops down in class where he can do some damage. Here's the 10-hole. Nice little 10-hole for you. Not cool. So we get the 10-hole with him. Now, it wasn't a perfect week either on the track. We had some breakers. Obviously, we had Drebin made a break. Now, I had a very lengthy email, a very lengthy explanation about what went on with Drebin and how we were going to fix that. Obviously, you're never happy when a horse makes a break, but considering had he not just made a break and he just raced flat, I wouldn't have much of a reason to dive into his race, take a closer look at his shoeing, talk to the blacksmith, talk to James, talk to Dominic, and formulate a different plan, a different approach. Had he not made a break, none of that would have happened. But it did. And I'm talking as if everything is fixed. It's not, but I believe it's closer to being fixed. After looking at his shoes, I think that he can be much, much better his next start for us, which will be a qualifier on Monday, I believe. On the rookie side of things, I gave you all a very in-depth look at the 2-year-olds, where they're at, what I see them doing moving forward. And 2 horses that are near the top of the class aren't even with us right now. Well, they are. Yeah, Captain Incredible is back now. He's back now with us. He was in Florida for 6 weeks. Must be nice. It looked great. I had a great conversation with both Ron Burke about Time Is On My Side. He did train him. Not many of you maybe not know. You guys may not know that. Time Is On My Side was trained by Ron Burke his last training mile in Florida. And he had a glowing report for him. And if you know Ronnie, a guy that's at the top of the business all the time, he doesn't pull any punches. He thinks your horse is ordinary, he's going to tell you he's ordinary. He thinks, hey, he's a nice horse, he does his work well, that's great. But he has no reason nor need to, throw compliments around for the colt. He talked to me for a good 2-3 minutes about how talented he thinks he is, how he could be a special horse, and how he was impressed by him, which is important. Scott McEnany, I ran into him on Thursday, who actually trained him. Now, Scott had some horses for Brad Grant in Florida that Ron Burke was supposed to take. Maybe yes, I'm not sure. That's how the whole Ron Burke thing came around. Ron was full. Said, hey, I got some horses with Scott. I know Scott. He's a tremendous horseman himself. And he had nothing but a glowing report about the colt. How he really liked him. He thought he was a beast. And by all accounts, they're both right from what I can see. No, we haven't trained him yet, but he looks great on the track. Definitely we're working him. He looks amazing on the track. And then over here in Pennsylvania, I was heard all about Country Dancing, our Poppy Rob Hanover filly, how good she looked, how impressive she's been in training. Beat them up again today, Tim said. Now, she's been a little bit more than we've been in Ohio, but again, nice sunny day on a 5/8 mile track. It's not shocking. So, 2 horses that look great. Not to mention the ones that we have over here that have looked super impressive. I love the fact that some of the horses that were kind of in obscurity all year have jumped forward. Right? Gorgeous package. Regardless of what she is, the expectations were exceedingly low for this filly. She was an inexpensive horse. It was bought on gate. A bit of a, flea market type sale on gate in the middle of the summer. Picked her up. You can always hear her making not a noise from her throat, but from her nose, like sinuses. A little lethargic looking. She was far from lethargic the other day training. She was awesome training. I saw in Ontario, right? Woodmere Betcha jumped forward last week. I saw a couple of more horses. You see some of the horses solidify themselves. They've just been good every week. Green Glitter was great again, and I have an affinity for her. You guys know that. But she did train good. It wasn't me training her. Daryl trained her. She trained awesome the other day. Then you look at the top of the lists, right? Who's really starting to make some waves? Jim Bree. She might have been she was sick the other day. Ended up sick, and they're showing antibiotics right now. Her and Rosetta both trained great. Very, very impressive, both of those horses. PA horses are starting to look good, look really good. Ohio, I mean, man, I still think we got a really deep crew in Ohio. The trotting fillies are starting to come on. Oh, he'll know was sneaky good the other day. Super impressed with her. I still like what I see from High Hopes. She's a little bit behind. She's a little self-conscious in the turns, but what I like about her is she's understanding her work. I can feel her throttling back, not to box her gate up, not because she's cowardly in the turns, but because that is the speed she's comfortable at. You know, and I saw her do it in all 4 turns the other day, but smart enough, that is my red line for this turn. Don't ask me for more right now. I'm not able to. But then take off down the lane. That's an impressive trait. It's a very impressive trait. And again, Freedom Hill is, you know, the queen of the castle, so to speak, in Ohio, for Ohio right now. She just looked iron tough, and Amy said she just toyed with them the other day. She was very talented filly. Perfect. We have 6 trotting colts that still look good for Ohio. Then on the pacing side, I mean, we have 3 pacing fillies now. I just talked to you about Gorgeous Package, who nobody spoke of. She was mascot before last week, for the most part. Not literally. I mean, she went out and did her work well, but nobody, at no point did anybody talk about Gorgeous Package as even being a stake filly yet. Let alone taking a run on it, let alone beating all the pacers the other day. That never happened. Roja and Alexander, Foxy Seaside. We have 3 very talented pacing fillies. Now, all of this means nothing because it's what everybody else has, right? I can only tell you how ours are doing. I've been thoroughly impressed with all 3 of those pacing fillies, and then the pacing colt side, Roja and AJ just continues to creep forward. You know, those little question marks and those little red flags went up. Is he too hot? Is he just going to turn into a speed horse? You know, a cowardly horse that's just going to outpace him, and when they catch up to him, he's not going to fight. Doesn't appear that way now. It seems like Jason's done a great job training him. Jason Merriman's been nice and quiet with him, and every time he's asked him to do something, he looks great. So I've been thoroughly pleased with what I've seen on the rookie side. As I said, not everything's perfect. I'm sure there's going to be some more 2-year-olds, a couple, 2, 3 that get moved as the summer starts. If they're not going to be effective horses, we'll move them on. I can assure you there's going to be some sophomores that are going to be heading out. Now, I will tell you this. There is a preferred sale on Monday. 2 weeks from that Monday is the next preferred sale. At some point in that timeline, there are going to be some horses that are voted off the island. It's just the way it is. But I can tell you one thing, not that many. Not that many at all. I've been really, really happy, really impressed with what I've seen thus far. So with that, I'm going to let you go. As I said, only 3 winners this week, but man, it felt like a lot more, and it felt like we accomplished a lot this week. Really impressed. Time is on my side. Sure, we paid a lot of money for him. Sure, he's Forever Boy's brother. That means nothing when they get to the track. He showed okay talent last year. It's a different animal. 51-1 today. It's a different animal. We have a lot of fun with him. We haven't even started pickpocket and arson yet. It should be a lot of fun here at the stable in 2024. We are certainly off to a good start and heading in the right direction. So that's all that matters at this point. I will talk to you all soon. I still have to do your 3-year-olds and your race horses. Back with those in just a minute.